Hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining me here. And if this is your first time here, what's up? I'm Niku, and I'm going to be talking about my week 12 experience with the Artist Way and my reflections after it. Um, week 12 is recovering a sense of faith. Um, which to me is like recovering a sense of profound trust, in the words of Miss Cameron, um, with yourself, with all the forces you're working with. Um, and I really was able to explore for myself in this week what my concrete faith looks like, what faith is for me tangibly and atmospherically. So for me, when we get into the reflections, I think this is like the good part. I don't want to talk about the reading too much because I think this is something that people need to read on their own, um, and make their own ideas of it. And I've already interpreted every other chapter. But after the readings and after the weeks, you get into the reflection exercises. And reading them now, a little bit after I finished the last week, really spoke to how aligned I've been feeling with the work that I've done in this course. And how the things that I've written down and figured out really work for me, and using them and applying them have been, mm, I don't know, tasty. It's like spiritual tasty. It's been nourishing. Like, I wanted to really bike, and I got a new bike, and I got a bike exactly how I wanted to get a bike from, exactly who I wanted to get a bike from. It's amazing what patience can do, but it wasn't an easy process. Like, I'm literally on Marketplace every day checking. I was like looking for a bike actively and furiously. I had such a passion for finding a bike. I was like trying to convince my other friends to sell me their bikes. And eventually I did get the bike that I wanted for myself in the exact way that I got it. And that process completely illuminated what recovering a sense of faith feels like. I was like, oh, like you can get what you want, but like I was manifesting this bike at the same time, but it wasn't like a passive manifesting. It is always an active manifesting. It is so much more fulfilling to actively manifest something than to passively manifest it. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about faith, and what synchronicity in my life means to me. I feel like the biggest change for myself through this process that I was so concerned about not regaining was synchronicity. Like, I am used to just being such a synchronized person with my environment and my atmosphere that it was scaring me to my core when I was out of sync. And each time, each chapter, as I gotten along in this process, I have been connecting more to my synchronicity. And now it's in full bloom. And I'm just like, yes, we back. We back. Um, that's how I feel. And I think for me, that was probably the biggest thing for me just within this course, because I truly had felt that I had lost my sense of like internal compass, which is super sharp, by the way. Like my intuition, yeah. So that was one of my biggest triumphs was like, wow. Um, and then in the exercises, she tells you to list ways that you have changed, list ways that you will continue to change, and list ways you're going to nurture yourself. And I think rereading these and seeing what has changed for me, what I want to change, excuse me, and how I plan to nurture myself, and seeing how they're all connected, and how nurturing yourself is how you get to change, like how you get to the change and get through the change. And it's about the intention too, because I don't think it's a coincidence that my changes are lining up with my intentions. I think that because I had these intentions, these changes came more naturally. And that was something that clicked for me. I was like, everything has to be intentional. And it's so funny because life is so paradoxical, because at the same time, and she talks about in this chapter, you have to balance being able to not take yourself so seriously to the point where you are constricting your own creativity, but allowing yourself to let go, allowing your ego to take a back seat and having a good time. But then also, you kind of need your ego in the passenger side to be like, no, you can do this, you can do this. So, um, she does talk about that in the chapter, and I think it's a really interesting read. Um, So like, yeah, I think I want to keep a lot of this stuff personal to me, because she also talked about that in the chapter of like well, there's this one concept in this in the chapter called escape velocity, and I really enjoyed this section because it basically talked about how when you're on the up and up in your career, in your life, you're going to and you on fire, you gonna find subconsciously a extinguisher to eliminate that for yourself, like that last minute self-sabotage. And that was actually a really huge thing for me too, because I would build myself up like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then I'm so quick at manifesting, I'll get it. And then I'll do something to completely sabotage myself in it, and I'll be like, why did I do that? And that's like the test. I think that the more you say you want something in your life and you go for it, you're gonna get tested. If that's really what you want to do, if that's really for you. And the test usually requires the ability to get into that escape velocity, okay? In the sense that that's how you get out of it. That's what she's saying. You use your escape velocity to get out of the test, and that could be, I think, negative or positive. Um, and the answers are within your nurturing. The answers are within your intentions. Um, and yeah, the escape velocity was interesting. What I needed, real, what I needed. Um, what else do I really want to share with you all? I think I had a lot of realizations that I thought I was going to share, but I wanted to pick and choose. Okay. I will say, recording these videos and recording myself through this entire process just really allowed to make me see the glaring patterns and problems. And I think I've mentioned this before, but I highly recommend this process as an artist, but then I also highly recommend you documenting it as well as you can. especially if you really feel like you are in a deep recovery mode. Because I have to say, in my mind, it felt like I wasn't really making progress. In my mind, I'm like, I'm so slow. This 12-week course has taken me 6 months. And, at the end of the day, the progress that I've made is monumental. And I do not know what my 2025 would have looked like if I didn't do this process here and now. So it just is what it is. I do think that my procrastination is allowing me to experience this course in a series, a sequence that is special to me and specific to me. But I also think it's showing me, yeah, a pattern that I have, or it's showing me the state that I'm in. Like, I can't really push myself to move faster right now. So I need to figure out how to feel more grounded um in that. And I think that connects to just realizations that I had. Like, I wrote, if you can't control your body, build trust in your mind. If you can't control your mind, build courage in your body. And I'm between both right now. So I'm really making sure that my nurturing includes getting into my body, getting present, being physically here, and also building trust with my mind by listening to my intuition, listening to myself. Boy, I'm so stubborn. It's sometimes I don't even listen to myself, and that's really annoying. So we're moving past that, and I think that also connects obviously to just having faith in yourself. If you don't have faith in your intuition, you're just gonna keep second guessing every movement that you're making. And I remember when I was in that state, and I'm like, oh wow, like now I feel like I can think about, okay, the next time I get into a rut like this, because you will get into another rut, it's going to happen. It's just about having the tools around you to make sure you can get up out of that rut. And I think that is what builds faith, knowing that you're always going to have the tools around you to get out of whatever situation you're in. I think it's going to create less fear around getting into the situation. And that situation being art and expression. And I had a thought and I lost it. However, I recommend this process. I'm just going to throw that in there. Um, I recommend it. So, yeah, and I'm realizing that what I truly feared and what was really like holding me back in propelling and just jumping into my creative process was my ego's thought of success, and how what your dreams how your dreams can also put you in a place of like leadership, and how that means that you're going to have responsibilities, more and more responsibilities. You're going to have more expectations. That's what people say, more money, more problems. I feel like, all of our brains work differently. And it's so funny that all of these sayings are really real, but they don't make sense until you really can put them in context of your life. And I think more money, more problems, like, you acquire more notoriety, you're going to have more responsibility and more expectations. And me and my free spirited Sag self, I did not like that. I was very tired or terrified of that. But then, like, this is helping me just accept that that's just a part of what I want and what I need, because it also is helping me realize that there isn't many options for me, in the sense that I should stop negotiating with myself with how I feel about creating art and being an artist. Clearly, this is something that I want to do, so I have to respect that. And having faith is also about having faith that the path that you're shown is the path that's made for you. You know what I mean? Sometimes I second guess being an artist and say things like everybody wants to be an artist, but like no, not everybody wants to be an artist. Everybody wants to be a different kind of artist. And with this awareness, I've been able to pick up on my awareness and other points in time in my life and analyze what I was feeling then and how I was feeling about my art. And that has given me insight to what I really should be doing in this moment. I hope that makes sense. If not, maybe it will later on. But ultimately, I think this process is just one big exercise in building self trust. And I think all things stem from there because if you don't trust the conversations you're having with yourself, let's just, start there. Okay. Um, let's just start there. And I feel like, I don't know. Oh, what was really interesting? Oh, the escape velocity. I'm going to go back to that because that's my favorite thing to talk about in this chapter. Sometimes like your wet blanket, your last minute self sabotage is talking to a friend or telling a friend, and that friend isn't the complete most supportive friend in the world. Like, they might say something a little negative, and then now you're in a spiral going down. And I have a friend that loves to say real G's move in silence like lasagna. And I always wondered what that meant. And that doesn't mean, you know, silence yourself. It just means protect yourself, protect your craft, protect your process. You have to protect your process as an artist. And sometimes the process is happening even after the art is done. But it's about protecting yourself and nurturing yourself in ways that keep you active, honestly. That's what I got from it. And there's just so much more. But if you're still here, do it. Just do it. If you're still here, do it. Just do it. And if you're doing it, share with me if we had any like synchronicities or similarities. Um, share with me anything. I'm so curious to know what other people have gotten from this book and this experience. And I just am excited to continue to engage with my learnings, findings, and understandings. Oof. Okay. Bye.